Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Empowered Eating Masterclass. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here. I'm Marna. I'm a registered dietitian turned food freedom coach, originally from South Africa, although I used to live in Ireland, which is why a lot of my clients are from that area, but I work with women from all over the world. So this is the first time that I'm doing a free training like this, and I'm really excited. And I'm going to do my absolute best to make this worthwhile for you, so stay tuned. Now, before we get started, I want to ask you to get rid of all distractions. So go to a quiet spot and close the door, grab a comfy seat, and get a pen and paper because you are going to want to take notes. I'm going to give you a ton of value right now. Now, I really don't want to waste anyone's time, so I'm going to tell you exactly who this training is for and who it's not for, so that you can decide whether you want to stick around. So this training is for you if you struggle with overeating and or binge eating. If you're tired of being controlled by the food in your fridge, if you're tired of dieting, of restarting every Monday, and you want to heal your relationship with food. And lastly, this is for you if you are open to trying something new, something completely different to anything that you've tried in the past. So even if this doesn't make sense right off the bat, you are open and willing to learn and to try. However, this training is not for you if you're looking for a diet, a quick fix, a meal plan, or a magic solution that requires minimal effort. So I'm going to be upfront with you about that right from the start. I know there are many programs out there offering quick fixes, but in my experience, if you want to permanently change your lifestyle and relationship with food, you need to be willing to put in the time and the effort. So these things don't just happen overnight. Plus, you need to be willing to find and address the root cause behind your food and body struggles, and no meal plan can do that for you. So I'm not going to give you a magic solution that will flip a switch after this masterclass, but I am going to give you a proven framework that will work when implemented correctly and consistently. So my bold promise to you is that this training will show you exactly how to heal your relationship with food, so that you can be free from overeating, binge eating, food obsessions, cravings, dieting, etc. And so that you can start to build your most healthful life. So in this masterclass today, we're going to talk about the one thing that you need to do to stop overeating or binge eating, the 3 most common mistakes that are keeping you stuck, and the 4 steps that you need to take to heal your relationship with food. So now if you're still here and all of this has resonated with you, then clearly this training is for you. And if you stay until the end, I've got a special surprise for you. So this includes some juicy bonuses that I've never offered before, as well as an exclusive opportunity to join the Empowered Eating Academy. So I'm going to be upfront about this right from the start. Yes, I'm going to tell you about my offer at the end, but I'm doing this in exchange for giving you some really valuable strategies for free. But before we get into those strategies, I want to briefly share my story and my why with you. So the main reason why I chose to do the work that I do today is because I've struggled with both over-restriction and binge eating myself for years. So it started when I was about 12 years old and carried on well into my mid-20s. I'm now 31. So I get it because I've been there. I know how it feels when food consumes your life, when you're constantly thinking about your next meal, obsessing over nutrition, or feeling immense guilt for overeating or binging. So my healing journey started about 2016 when I qualified as an RD, and then completed some additional specialized training and started helping women in my private practice. Fast forward to a couple of years down the line, I started the Empowered Eating Academy because I wanted to share everything that I've learned from my own experiences and from the experiences of the amazing women that I've worked with, and from my studies with women like you. Now, it can be really easy to lose motivation when it comes to habit change, right? So how many times have you started a new program or made a lifestyle change only to find yourself running out of steam, losing willpower, and going back to your old habits? Life just kind of gets in the way, or it just gets too hard and we think, this isn't working, so we give up. Now, I really don't want this to happen to you. So let's build some desire to keep you motivated on this journey that you are about to start. So I want you to think about how it would feel if you could be free from overeating and binge eating. If you could go through life without feeling like you're being controlled by food. If you could have that healthy, easy, normal relationship with food. So what would this mean for your health and how would you feel? And now I want you to picture yourself doing something that you haven't been able to do because of your food and body struggles. So for one of my clients, this was baking cookies with her kids, something that she'd been avoiding for years for fear of binging on those cookies. And for another one of my clients, this was going on a hike with her family, something she'd been avoiding because of her body struggles, because of her body image issues, because she didn't feel fit and healthy enough. So I want you to make a little mental movie of yourself being free and doing this one thing. So I want to give you a moment to make your mental movie because this really is so important. And once you've made your mental movie, I want you to hold on to it because we absolutely can get you there. So let's get started. Let's talk about the one thing that you need to do to stop overeating or binge eating. So the one thing that matters most, and this honestly is life-changing for my clients. And it's getting rid of the food scarcity mindset. So having limited access to food activates a biological drive to overeat. Even if you're no longer actively dieting, the food scarcity mindset can still be lingering and it can ramp up your appetite, especially for high-calorie foods or high-fat, high-sugar foods. So what's often interpreted as food addiction is really just those biological changes that occur in response to restriction. With chronic dieting comes hormonal and neurobiological changes that trigger a preoccupation with food, cravings, insatiable hunger, overeating, and binge eating. And along with this also comes that all or nothing thinking. I've already cheated and eaten a brownie, so I may as well cheat properly now and restart tomorrow. And these compensatory behaviors can linger for years after the restriction has ended. The purpose of all of this is survival or self-preservation. So your body does not know when the next famine will strike. And it makes sense to eat as much as possible while food is available. So it's not easy to get rid of this mindset. And I'm going to tell you a little bit later on exactly how to get rid of it when we talk about the 4 steps that you need to take. But the very first thing that you need to do is to prove to your body that the food scarcity is over and that it's not going to happen again. And you can do this by consistently eating regular meals. So when you have this structured approach where you follow an eating routine, you're essentially rebuilding trust with your body. So you're proving to your body that food is available. And rebuilding this trust does take time, so we need to be patient here. And only once you've rebuilt the trust can you start learning to listen to your body. So this is really, really important. If you just dive into trying to listen to your hunger and fullness cues right from the start, it's not going to work because your body has been through so much. You've had all of this restriction, these food rules you followed for such a long time, so you're not going to be able to rely on your hunger and fullness. It's not going to be reliable. So we need to first rebuild the trust. Now, the structured approach is going to help to prevent overeating and binge eating as well because it's going to prevent that urgent or primal hunger, which can trigger a binge. And it's also going to help you if you struggle with mindless grazing or nibbling. So knowing that the next meal or snack isn't far away can reduce that need to just pick and graze. So let's take a look at the 3 most common mistakes that are keeping you stuck in the restrict binge cycle. Mistake number 1, following restrictive food rules. So this could be as obvious as doing a diet like Noom or keto. Yes, Noom is a diet, by the way. Or it could be pretty subtle. For example, only allowing yourself to eat at specific times, doing intermittent fasting, doing detoxes or cleanses, which is completely pointless, by the way, since your liver and kidneys do the detoxing for you. tracking calories or macros, restricting yourself to a specific portion size, skipping the carbs or fat, or suppressing your hunger with low-calorie filler foods or diet drinks, etc. It could also be, trying to compensate for overeating or binge eating by restricting or skipping a meal. So while it may seem like this behavior is helping you to stay in control, it's actually doing the exact opposite because it's feeding that restrict binge cycle. So I'm not talking about recommendations related to medical conditions here. And I'm not talking about moral choices such as, for example, vegetarianism. I'm talking about dieting rules here. Now, a lot of the time, the women who come to me tell me that they are no longer dieting, but somehow they still feel out of control with food. So what's happening here? Well, when they get started with the program, they are usually so surprised at how many food rules they were actually still following. So you may not be actively dieting anymore, but any of these restrictive eating behaviors can feed the food scarcity mindset and it can trigger overeating. Literally just thinking about a diet or planning a diet is actually enough to feed that food scarcity mindset. Not only that, but inflexible food rules trigger black and white thinking. It's either clean eating or eating everything in sight. You're either being really good or you're having a cheat day, aka a planned binge. So while it may seem like these rules are helping you to stay in control, they're actually doing the exact opposite. So they're actually part of the reason why you feel so out of control with food. Now, I am not telling you to let go of all of your food rules in one go. So please don't do that because that certainly can trigger a binge. In the Empowered Eating Academy, I help you to work through those rules systematically. Mistake number 2, focusing on body weight. So jumping on the scale frequently. And while it may seem like this can help you to stay in control, it can in fact trigger a binge. Now, the biggest problem with a scale is that it's not an accurate reflection of what's really going on. So it naturally fluctuates from day to day, mostly because of fluid changes in the body. And a rise or a drop in that number can trigger overeating. So if the number goes down, you might feel like you deserve that extra brownie, right? But if the number goes up, you might feel discouraged, which can trigger self-sabotaging behaviors such as overeating or binge eating. Now, I know you may be worried that you'll gain a ton of weight if you let go of your food rules and the scale. And I totally understand if you have this fear. It literally took me months to let go of this fear myself. But here's the deal. When you normalize your eating behaviors, in other words, when you stop restricting, but you also stop binging, your weight will normalize too. So in other words, you'll find your set point weight. A weight that you can maintain with ease and where you feel your best, both physically and mentally. So if you have been restricting severely and your binges were not that frequent, you may currently be below your set point, meaning that you would need to gain some weight to be healthy. However, if you have been overeating and binging a lot, you may currently be above your set point, meaning that you would lose some weight to get to your set point. Either way, what's important is that those crazy weight fluctuations stop. Because yo-yo dieting is really detrimental to your physical and your mental health, and it's frustrating. And if you continue to restrict, you're only going to further damage your metabolism and increase your set point weight. And finally, mistake number 3, telling yourself that you are back to square one each time that you binge. So this can leave you feeling like you have failed, which is usually associated with immense guilt and further binging. We tend to expect a linear path, right? So like the figure on the left, we want to start our journey and never binge again and get to that place where we're feeling healthy, we're feeling good about ourselves, and everything's fine. But when we have a small setback, we think, this isn't working, so we give up. But the truth is that the path is not going to be linear. It's going to look more like the figure on the right. So here's an important mindset shift. Instead of viewing binges as failed attempts, see them as opportunities to learn more about yourself. You will inevitably have setbacks, but if you respond with curiosity and reflection, the binges will get smaller and less intense until they disappear. Here's an example of how this mindset shift can help to prevent a binge. So Abby is one of my past clients who had struggled with binge eating for years. She had previously been a member of Overeaters Anonymous, and as a result, she had a very all or nothing mindset when it came to her binges. So whenever she had a binge, she felt like she was back to square one, and this really just wasn't working for her anymore. So here's what she had to say after just a few weeks of working together. Removing the guilt from overeating has been a huge help. If I notice that I've eaten too much or for comfort, I stop myself to reflect, and it prevents a big binge then. Your course and you are helping me so much, and I'm starting to believe in myself bit by bit. Okay, so we've spoken about what not to do, but what should you be doing instead? So you want to break this restrict binge cycle, right? But you also want to build your most healthful and balanced life. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this using my 4-step process. So here it is, the 4 R's of the Empowered Eating Academy. Reset, reconnect, restore, and renew. So the first step is to reset from diet culture and to break the food scarcity mindset. And this definitely is one of the most challenging steps. Now, step 1 entails eating consistent, regular meals to prove to your body that the food scarcity is over. So remember I said that after years of restricting, your hunger and fullness signals are not going to be reliable. So we first want to rebuild that trust with your body before we start learning intuitive eating skills, which is the next step. So step 1 also entails systematically getting rid of all of those restrictive food rules and those dieting thoughts that are keeping you stuck in the food scarcity mindset. And this is hard stuff, but it really is so liberating and so empowering. And then lastly, we work on making peace with or normalizing your binge or trigger foods. And this is really important because it's essentially going to take away that urgency to overeat or binge. And again, like with the food rules, we do this process gradually. So when we start working on making peace with food, my clients are usually shocked to realize that they were actually never addicted to food. That the reason why they couldn't stop eating a specific food once they got started was because they believed that this was the last time that they were going to be eating this food. Agnesia was trapped in the restrict binge cycle, and she had been on diets since childhood, so the food scarcity mindset was deeply rooted for her. Here's what she had to say after just 2 weeks of working together. Did not binge this weekend, even though we have a tub of ice cream in the house. I feel less and less controlled by what is in my fridge, and it's changing my life. The next step is to reconnect to your hunger, fullness, and satisfaction cues. So this is where we start building those intuitive eating skills. Now, listening to your body does not mean eating whatever you want without giving it a second thought. It means considering your hunger, fullness, and satisfaction levels while choosing foods that leave you feeling your best. So intuitive eating can help you to not only break free from overeating and binge eating, but to stay binge-free forever. It offers a way to care for your health and your body without dieting. And the third step is to restore emotional coping tools and essential self-care habits. And so in a nutshell, this step is about learning to cope with emotions and stress in a constructive way without always turning to food. So you need to understand the outcome that you're trying to achieve by eating so that you can come up with an effective alternative coping mechanism. And we also work on optimizing your sleep and stress management in this step because those 2 factors can have a big impact on your eating behaviors. Marcel had been struggling with emotional eating for years. She reached for chocolate whenever she felt stressed, and this often spiraled out of control, and her comfort eating bled into the evening, and sometimes it even continued for days. After she completed step 3, she had a whole emotional eating toolkit, and she rarely turned to food for comfort. She said, I didn't believe this was possible for me. And I remember feeling like this too, like it's not possible for me to change. And maybe you feel like this. But when you have the right recipe and you trust the process, it is 100% possible. And then lastly, step 4 is about renewing your nutrition and exercise habits. So learning how to eat and exercise in a way that feels really good and that supports your health. So people are often surprised by this step, but remember, giving up diets does not mean that you're giving up on your health goals. You are allowed to find a healthy balance with food and exercise. So here we reincorporate some gentle nutrition and joyful movement so that you can feel really good about yourself again and so that you can be confident that you are doing your best to take care of your health. And this is where we start looking at some evidence-based recommendations because the world of health and nutrition is really overwhelming, especially with diet culture and all the myths and misinformation out there. So I help you to actually identify what's true and what's not true and what habits you need to build to get to where you want to be. So this step has to come last because building sustainable healthy habits is virtually impossible when you have an unhealthy relationship with food. So in this step, we're going to explore what habits you need to build to achieve your health goals, be it to have more energy, to be fitter, to have better digestion, prevent chronic diseases, etc. So back to Abby. When we first started working together, she was ready to give up. She had tried everything and she was a bit fearful actually to sign up to the program because she didn't believe there was a solution out there for her. So she was binging about once per week and eating emotionally or overeating on a daily basis. And she had been yo-yo dieting since age 15. So she knew that something had to change because she was worried about her health and she worried that she would pass these behaviors onto her kids. Abby described her healing journey as a roller coaster ride with violent ups and downs. So it wasn't easy, but she was willing to ride that roller coaster and to learn from her setbacks. And this was a big mindset shift for her as well. And by the end of the 10 weeks that we worked together, she was able to see a binge coming and to stop it in its tracks, even though there was a bag of crisps in her house, her top binge food. So at this point, she naturally started building some healthy habits. She started including more veggies in her meals and started eating foods that left her feeling her best. And she also started exercising again for the first time in years. All right, so let's do a quick recap. So we've spoken about the one thing that you need to do to stop overeating and binging. And that is getting rid of the food scarcity mindset. And the first thing that you need to do to get rid of this mindset is to start eating regular, balanced meals. So consistency is key here. And then I pointed out to you the 3 most common mistakes that are keeping you stuck in the diet binge cycle. And lastly, I shared with you the 4 steps that you need to take to heal your relationship with food so that you can start building your most healthful life. All right, so at this point, you have 2 choices, right? You can either take all of the information that I gave you today and go try it on your own. You can continue to read ebooks, listen to podcasts, join Facebook groups, and try to piece together all of this information, hoping that one day it's all going to click. Or you can choose to fast track your results and have me support and guide you every step of the way. Now, I know you are here today because you want to start seeing results, right? You're tired of trying on your own and you're tired of going around in circles. You want to break free from overeating and binge eating without relying only on your willpower, but without needing to avoid all of your trigger foods for the rest of your life. You're tired of always being the one who's weird with food, who has to bring her own meal to a dinner party, or who has to order a plain salad while everyone else eats pizza. You want to say goodbye to yo-yo dieting and those crazy weight fluctuations. You want to find your healthiest set point weight and maintain this with ease. You want to have a healthy, flexible, and easy relationship with food so that you can get on with your life, so that you can be a good example to your friends, family, maybe your kids, so that you can say yes to brunch, so that you can enjoy that family dinner or that Christmas dinner without worrying about how many calories you're eating or without worrying that you might lose control and binge. And guess what? Today is the day, my friend. Today is the day that you end this vicious cycle. You stop going around in circles with your health goals and that you finally regain control. Now, I know at this point you may be thinking, will this really work? So if you're like most of my clients, you have tried so many programs or strategies before. And maybe you've had many stops and starts along the way. So how will this be different? Now, I 100% understand if you have this fear. I remember feeling exactly the same way before I started my food freedom journey. But I can assure you, this program is different to everything else that you've tried in the past. Because we're going to address the root cause behind your food and body struggles, and because we're going to be working on healing your relationship with food so that you can be free from the urge to overeat or binge, and so that it will be easier for you to make healthy choices. So most other programs rely quite heavily on willpower. You're told to avoid certain foods or to stick to a specific set of food rules, or maybe even to follow a meal plan. And the problem is that willpower always runs out. So no one is able to stick to a meal plan forever. No one's able to stick to a set of food rules forever. So we are not relying on willpower here. So if me and my clients can do this, following my 4-step process, then so can you. No matter how many stops and starts you've had in the past. And so if you are ready to say goodbye to overeating, binge eating, and yo-yo dieting, then I'd love to introduce you to the Empowered Eating Academy. So here are the main benefits of the program. You'll join a small group of like-minded women who are going through the exact same struggles as you, so that you'll never have to feel alone again. You'll have unlimited access to me as your guide, and I'll show you step by step how to heal your relationship with food. I'll also help you to find your set point weight and to develop a way of eating that really works for you and that you can do for the rest of your life. So here's what Agnisha had to say after she completed the program. I feel so damn confident and good in my body. The diet detox did my mental health so much good. I'm having less and less negative thoughts towards my appearance as well, and I feel comfortable and happy. She then goes on to say, when I first set up my goals with you, I was a bit hesitant to believe that I would ever reach this place, especially in 2 months. So wouldn't you like to feel this way? I don't know a single person who wouldn't want these results. Here's exactly what you get inside the 10-week program. Number 1, a super comprehensive online course consisting of roughly 20 video lessons, and each of these lessons has specific action items or worksheets associated with it as well, so that you can implement what you've learned. And in this online course, you're going to work through the 4-step process that I shared with you earlier. And best of all, you have lifelong access to this course. So you can always go back and refresh your memory. You'll have the information at your fingertips. Secondly, you'll get 5 one-on-one coaching sessions with me. Now, these sessions are roughly 45 to 60 minutes long. They're held over Zoom, and the main purpose of these sessions is accountability and personalization. So during these sessions, we'll take a really, really good look at your unique situation, your roadblocks, your limiting beliefs, etc. And towards the end of the program, we'll specifically work on establishing healthy eating habits that fit into your life and that support your unique goals. You'll also have unlimited messenger support. So I really value open communication channels. So you'll have 24/7 access to me via WhatsApp or email, so that I can be there for you when you need it most. So if you're struggling with something, you don't need to wait for your coaching call. We can sort it out ASAP. And this is one of the features that makes this program unique. So I've noticed that the clients who usually get the best results on this program are the ones who stay in close communication with me, who tell me about their wins, their challenges, and sometimes just want to talk through something with me. And so you can have this benefit too. But that's not all. So remember I said that I have a surprise for you if you stay until the end. So here it is. You'll also get 2 bonuses. The first one is a 10-day body image challenge. And here I'll teach you how to improve your body image, respect your body, and ultimately gain unstoppable confidence with 10 easy steps. And the next bonus is a gut health challenge. So here I'm going to teach you some simple, highly effective, and sustainable steps that you can take to optimize your gut health and your digestion. So I really want to leave you at the end of this program feeling your absolute best. Now, of course, you're wondering, how much is this all going to cost? So let's look at the investment. If all of these benefits were sold on their own, the total cost of the program would be €2,395. But I'm not going to charge you that today. I'm not even going to charge you €2,000. Because you showed up to this training, your investment for the entire program is only €995. Or you can opt for the payment plan where you'll pay €365 per month for 3 months. So you'll save about €100 if you do pay upfront. All right, so what do you need to do to get started? To lock in this price and claim your bonuses, all you need to do is book a free application call with me. But this is not just an application call. I'm also going to help you to come up with a personalized plan that will work for you to stop overeating and binging and to find your healthy balance. So even if you're not a good fit for the program, as a bare minimum, you are going to walk away with your very own binge-free game plan. So you can book your free call by clicking the button just below this video. It'll take you to my calendar and you'll be able to select a slot that works for you. If you can't find anything that's suitable, please do email me and I will look at my schedule and we'll make a plan. Now there are limited spaces available in this program. It's first come, first serve, and once all the spots are filled, I am going to be closing off my calendar. So if you're interested in this, I recommend that you book your free call ASAP to secure your spot. So thank you so very much for joining me today, and I hope that you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop me an email, or if you follow me on Instagram, send me a message. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you.